So, I wanted to do a video real quick about this the other day. I was riding the SkyTrain. For those that don't know, SkyTrain here is like a subway. Anyway, so, you know, you see this, eh? You see this all the time. Everybody just in their phones, just not paying attention, not talking. My kid and I we're always like, oh, you know, I wonder if they're talking to each other. But it's funny, eh? You walk into any place. We're out for dinner the other day, and there's 3 people having dinner together, and I commented loud enough for them to hear. I said, "Look at that, Ava. Those people are out for dinner with each other, and they're on their phones like 80–90% of the time. They're sitting there talking to someone else. Someone else probably that they're not, you know, out for dinner with, right? Like, anyway, it's kind of odd." So, my eyes are a little puffy. I just woke up and having my coffee. I get up every morning to sun gaze, and it really helps. I feel great. We recently moved into a place that gets a little more sun, so that's I think helping quite a bit too. Throughout the day, working at my desk, I'm getting a lot of light all day, which is really nice. Anyway, back to what happened on the SkyTrain. I should go all over the fucking place. This lady in her phone, hey, all over, just, you know, and she's got a kid. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you know, like, I'm a dad. I know what it's like to have kids. It's not always about them, but most of the time it is. And you love being a dad. I mean, you love being a mom or whatever, right? Like, that's your center of attention. That's your world. I mean, it's an amazing time, an amazing experience, especially, I think this kid was like not even 1. And so I didn't really think any more of it than that. And I'm pretty sure I even make a point of giving a look of disgust that I want people to see. I'm trying to communicate with people without saying stuff, because I get in trouble for saying stuff a lot. Because I am the kind of guy that will speak up. Like if I see someone smack their kid, I will fucking jump in right away, right? Like, I see people buying groceries that aren't organic. I get on them. If I see them with kids, I say, you know, you're poisoning your kid. I try to be nice about it, but I mean, I just, the truth sometimes is offensive, and I have to hide out most of the time in my life. Maybe I even have Asperger's or whatever the fuck it is, because I seem to I have some symptoms anyway. But so this lady's kid starts crying, fucking still in her phone. I'm like, okay, well, you know, maybe it's important, right? I kind of look a little, she's on fucking Facebook. What the fuck? Really? Facebook? Come on. So anyway, I'm like looking like this. I'm not kidding. There's like 3–4 other people, and I can't tell though if they're looking at me like, mind your own fucking business, or if they're getting. And then one lady and I totally, yeah, like the eyes just, and we just, yeah, and she got up, and I was like, yes, because most of the time it's me, the big mouth fucking guy, and, you know, and sometimes I embarrass my kid. She's like, Dad, you know, sometimes it's just a little embarrassing. I always gotta break into this. My speech for that is, Ava, if nobody says anything, it's just as good as participating in it, you know? If we don't speak up for those without a voice or whatever, right? Like children. with awful mothers that are on Facebook instead of dealing with a kid with maybe a shitty diaper that's hungry that just needs a hug. Anyway, so this lady gets up and she's like, oh, I can't even believe this. And I'm like, yes. And she really just tears into her. She says, there's nothing more amazing than having children, and something to the effect that if your phone has got your attention more than your children, that I feel so sorry for your poor kid. And this lady, her response is like, fuck you, fuck you, and so then I pipe up and I go, no, she's right. You're fucking awful. What the fuck is on your phone that's so much more important than your fucking kid? That's just fucking how I see it. Anyway, and I leave it because this lady's doing a really fine job. And now I know I'm looking around. Now I'm looking at those other people that were looking. And they've got a bit of an affirmating smile, kind of like a bit of a, yes, good. Told her. Now, let's hope she got off the train. That she did at the next stop. Let's hope she got off the train and she spends that time thinking and contemplating, and not going home and beating her kid for that miserable experience she just had, right? Because that's how fucked up some people are. They're so fucked up. Oh, you fucking miserable kids, you... that's how fucked up people are. There are people that fucked up. But the world's different, because in my opinion, that wouldn't have happened 5 years ago. And I have been working the media, posting, don't pay tax, you're complacent, you're... silence is your guilt. You're a partner in murder when you pay tax and you participate in helping the government fight wars, fund wars. We're the terrorists, right? And I've been posting that for years, and I've been telling people, like, don't talk to me about chemtrails and all this government corruption. Talk to the people that don't know. And I'm telling people, go to the media. And something clicked, something's working, something's happening, people are, and I see it not just in the social sort of settings like restaurants, and when I'm getting groceries, I'm talking to the lady at the clerk and she's agreeing with everything I'm saying, and I think there's just a sense of hope for I feel we can actually do this. We can actually get this corrupt system, and I think we can do it. I'm really hopeful. And I mean, it's got to be non-participation. It has to be non-violent, and it has to be a leaderless system, because at any point, I can tell you right now, everybody that is in charge has been trying to co-opt and trying to steal our... Look at like Russell Brand and stuff. These guys are millionaires, and yet they're saying, they're yelling our battle cry. They're screaming out our battle cry because they want us to, under their wings. They want us to fall. They're co-opting every, all opposition is controlled. So I'm saying the only way to get forward and have it so that opposition is not controlled is that there is no real opposition other than every single individual is their own. Every individual, think of everyone as their own nation, their own country. They make up all their own rules, their own tax rules. They participate and fund whatever. Like, Canada doesn't go to the U.S. and say, hey, look, we want to build a road. You have to pay for half. No, and we had roads before we had governments too. And, your neighbor builds a fence. You don't have to want to build a fence. He builds a pool. You don't, we all just do our own shit. And if we want to work together, it's easy. And I work together with people all the time. I'm doing, I do lots of stuff with other people. It's not, building my chicken coops and doing stuff like that. you know, I get help from outside the world. I get help from outside, and I do stuff for other people too. And that's, you know, you can't. The government wants everything on a tap in a way of control, and I'm saying, like, the individual is the most important. That baby with a shitty mother, and everybody that spoke up. And that's what I'm trying to instill with everybody. It's your responsibility to speak up. It could be just for that little baby, or it could be that the so-called your government is doing something that is offensive to your morals. And trust me, if you don't know of something offensive that your government is doing, then you're just not looking. Don't look for the information to come at you from the news, like CBC. CBC might as well be another wing of government. I mean, essentially, all our media is coming from us and from them. Just ignore them. Look at what they're telling you, because there's always a little truth in their lie, right? They keep talking vaccines. Oh yeah, measles outbreak, flu shot, you know, scare you into and why. So what the why is what's important. They've never really done anything. I mean, yes, there's some motive to keeping us healthy, but right now I think there's more motive to keeping us sterile or dumb us down, right? And I think that those motives are outweighed by keeping you healthy. Though the measles shot might stop measles, it might also give you cancer and fertility problems. And I think 9 times out of 10 is enough case to plead that. But when it's 999 out of 1,000, you just can't argue with those numbers. It's intentional. And aspartame, fluoride, MSG, all this shit that they add to your food, and all it does is dumb you down. So then why do they want you dumb? Because they want you so stupid that they'll continue to let them run the country, to run you. You know, freedom, perceived freedom, because nobody's really free. And you can have rights, and if you don't exercise them, you're still not free. I mean, we have charter rights here that say you have the freedom of conscience, your freedom of religion. So let me just say, if you don't think you have the right to not pay tax, then let me ask you, would your God, if you have a God, or even if you don't have a God, isn't it a good enough excuse to say that my God would not condone me paying tax to a system that is murdering people for oil? Because my conscience, I know, is enough to say that, right? I don't pay tax because of that reason alone. It's my right to protest. And Section 52 of the Canadian Charter says that charter is the supreme law of Canada. So now, even if I don't believe in Canada or the Charter, I mean, why not at least use it for that? At least be able to go back and say, listen, your tax laws are void because the Charter says I have the freedom of religion and freedom of conscience. And I don't, you also have the freedom to protest. What a better way to protest the tax system and the wars being funded with it than just not paying. And that's your right. These are rights. You can't take rights away. They're not privileges. Government doesn't give you rights anyway, really. I mean, their position is that they're supposed to be protecting them. They don't do a very good job protecting anything other than the bank. And let's not get started on that. But the interest we pay is where all your personal tax goes. That's on loans with banks, private banks, when we could just borrow money against our own bank for interest-free. Solving all the, we could be living in abundance, and the only reason we're not is because we have this perfect system of debt that keeps us enslaved. It's slavery, it's not forced per se, but try not working and see how well your life goes. See, so slavery. Anyway, something to think about. And get off your fucking phone when you're with your children, you know? Get off your phone anyway, really. I am so glad I don't have an iPhone. I work on a computer all day, so maybe it's sort of bullshit, because you guys see I'm on Facebook all the time. But it's like I take a break from work. So maybe I'm not getting as much work done. Maybe my days aren't as productive. But you know what? Just the response in what's happening around the world and what I'm seeing. When I used to go post like 5 years ago and stuff, I would come away from that feeling like shit most of the time, because people are fucking, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, fucking chemtrails, you know. What do you mean pay tax? Don't pay tax, you go to jail, man. You're gonna go to jail. You're gonna go. I'm not in jail. It's fucking, what, 7 years later, still not in fucking jail. Though they're, you know, they've made attempts, but mostly trying to frame me for other shit. Tax is a contract between you and your employer. Your SIN card and your ID that you use. This government employee card, like ID. It's their property and you're using it, so you must be an agent of the government. So they are going to tax you. It's employment benefits, essentially, is what you're paying. And you have a contract with them. You don't want to pay tax, send them a notice, fire them, okay? This is the other way. You can protest, you can do it all lawfully, legally, blah, blah, blah. But here's another legal avenue, too. Fire your government representatives, okay? And tell them you're not contributing, you're not an employee or not an agent anymore. Even your fucking car. It's a government registered car. You registered it with the government, you gave it away. It's not yours anymore. So now whenever you drive it, you have to show your government permission slip, your permit, your driver's license. And they want to see your registration because they want to know that you have no rights in that vehicle. Your birth certificate, same thing. You registered your birth. Your parents made you a ward of the state. And you have no rights. You're government property. Really, anyway. And same thing. Let them know that that contract is void and you're not honoring it. It was done without your permission by your parents. And I get my coffee. It's fucking cold now. See. Anyway, it's something to think about. I could just go on for days and days. But that's really all I'm going to say. I'd go on for days, and everything I just said, that's it. In a nutshell, no, that's it. Okay.